The salvage yard stretched across 3 kilometers of rust-colored sand on the moon of Tertius Prime. Among the twisted hulks of decommissioned vessels and forgotten war machines, the combat walker stood silent. Its designation was Strike Class Model 47, though most beings who passed it simply called it scrap. The walker had seen better days. Its left leg hung at an awkward angle, hydraulics frozen mid-stride. The armor plating along its torso bore deep scorch marks from plasma fire. One optical sensor dangled from a cluster of severed cables. The main weapon system, a rotating plasma cannon, had been removed and sold separately months ago. Traders from a dozen species wandered through the yard that morning. A group of Krell merchants examined a frigate engine, their chitinous fingers tapping calculations on holographic displays. 2 Vaxian pilots argued over the price of a flight computer. None of them gave the walker more than a passing glance. 20,000 credits for that piece of junk? A tall Viridian trader laughed, his green skin rippling with amusement. His companion, a shorter being with 4 arms, joined in the mockery. The humans built these things during their war with the Krell Confederacy, the 4-armed alien said. Primitive design. Barely functional when new. That one fought on Helios Station, from what I heard. Got hit so many times they just abandoned it. Humans always did prefer quantity over quality, the Viridian added. Build them cheap, throw them at the enemy, hope something works. They moved on, leaving the walker alone in its corner of the yard. An hour later, a human walked through the gate. His name was Marcus Webb, a former colony engineer who had spent the last decade hopping between mining outposts and freight stations. He wore a faded work jacket and carried a portable scanner that had seen as many years as he had. The yard owner, a Beltraxian with too many eyes and a talent for reading customers, approached immediately. Welcome, welcome. Looking for parts? Weapons? I have a beautiful Krell fighter over there, barely used. Marcus shook his head. Just browsing. He wandered through the rows of debris, his scanner occasionally beeping as it cataloged materials and serial numbers. He stopped when he reached the walker. The Beltraxian caught up to him. Ah, interested in antiques? That model is pre-treaty. Human military surplus. Frame is still solid, but everything else is shot. Make you a good deal on the metal. 15,000 credits. Save me the trouble of cutting it up. Marcus walked around the machine slowly. His scanner hummed as it analyzed the structure. The walker stood 4 meters tall, its humanoid frame designed for versatility across different terrain types. Despite the damage, Marcus could see the elegance in its construction. The joint systems used a hybrid of mechanical and magnetic articulation. The power core housing was reinforced with composite alloys. Someone had designed this machine to last. What happened to it? Marcus asked. The Beltraxian's eyes blinked in sequence. Helios Station Defense. The walker took direct hits from Krell heavy artillery. Pilots ejected before it went down. Been sitting in military storage for 8 years until they auctioned it off. I bought it for the parts, but the good stuff was already stripped. Marcus placed his hand on the walker's leg. The metal was cold. Does the core still function? Fusion reactor is intact but dormant. No fuel cells, though. No weapons, no sensor suite, no control interface. The Beltraxian tilted his head. You are not actually thinking of restoring this? How much for the whole thing? The alien's laugh sounded like grinding gears. You want to buy it? The entire walker? My friend, the cost to repair this machine would be 10 times its value. No military would take it. No collector wants human military equipment. It is worthless except as raw material. How much? Marcus repeated. The Beltraxian studied him for a long moment. 12,000 credits. Final offer, 8,000. 10,000 and I throw in the maintenance logs. Marcus transferred the credits from his personal account. The Beltraxian seemed more confused than pleased as he processed the transaction. You have transport arranged? The alien asked. I will handle it, Marcus said. Over the next 3 months, Marcus worked. He rented a small hangar on the edge of a human settlement on Tertius Prime's sister moon. The walker barely fit through the doors. He started with the basics, stripping away the damaged armor panels, cataloging every system, every connection, every failed component. The reactor came online after 2 weeks of careful restoration. Marcus fabricated new fuel cells using specs he downloaded from an old military database. The core hummed to life, bathing the hangar in pale blue light. The leg actuators required complete rebuilds. Marcus spent 16-hour days machining replacement parts, testing tolerances, adjusting the magnetic field generators that provided smooth joint movement. When he finally powered on the left leg system, it moved with a grace that surprised even him. He could not afford military-grade armor, so he improvised. Composite plates from a mining rig. Ablative foam used in spacecraft hulls. A coating of reactive gel that could harden on impact. The armor would not stop dedicated military weapons, but it would hold against most threats. The weapons were trickier. The original plasma cannon mounting point became home to a mining laser he modified for increased power output. He added a pair of micromissile pods salvaged from a damaged cargo hauler's defense system. Not military spec, but functional. The control interface required the most work. The original neural link system was fried beyond repair. Marcus built a new one from scratch, combining haptic feedback gloves with a direct visual overlay. He spent 2 weeks just calibrating the response time, ensuring the machine would move as an extension of the pilot rather than a separate entity. On the 93rd day, Marcus climbed into the cockpit. The seat wrapped around him. The interface came online. Status displays flickered to life across his vision. He could see what the walker saw through its rebuilt sensor suite. He could feel the weight distribution through the haptic feedback. He took a step. The walker moved forward smoothly. He took another, then another. Soon he was walking the machine around the hangar, testing its balance, its responsiveness. It felt alive. Word spread quickly. Other humans came to see what Marcus had done. Engineers asked questions about his fabrication techniques. Pilots wanted to test the control system. Within weeks, 3 more damaged walkers appeared at the hangar. Their owners had bought them cheap, inspired by Marcus's work. Then the Krell came. A diplomatic delegation was visiting Tertius Prime to discuss trade agreements. Security was tight. When their transport experienced a mechanical failure in the outer settlements, they requested immediate assistance. The local human administrator contacted Marcus. We need heavy equipment to stabilize their vessel until proper repair crews arrive, the administrator explained. The Krell ship is too large for standard lifters. Can your walker handle it? Marcus arrived at the site an hour later. The Krell transport sat at a dangerous angle. One landing strut collapsed. A dozen Krell diplomats stood at a safe distance, their faces unreadable behind environmental suits. Security personnel from 3 species maintained a perimeter. The same Viridian trader who had mocked the walker months ago stood among the crowd. His expression shifted when he saw Marcus approach in the restored machine. Marcus positioned the walker beside the damaged strut. He activated the mining laser at low power, cutting away the twisted metal. Then, with careful precision, he used the walker's arms to lift the transport's hull while the repair team slid an emergency support brace into position. The operation took 40 minutes. When Marcus stepped back, the Krell transport was stable. The diplomats conferred briefly, then their leader approached. You pilot that machine with exceptional skill, the Krell said. his translator rendering his words in standard trade language. "We remember these walkers from the war. They were formidable opponents. To see one restored so completely is unexpected." "Just good engineering," Marcus replied. The Krell leader tilted his head. "We lost many warriors to machines like this. But wars end. Perhaps such tools can serve better purposes now." Over the following year, Marcus's hangar grew. He trained other humans in restoration techniques. They worked on walkers, on fighters, on defense platforms. Equipment that had been written off as obsolete or too damaged found new life. Other species began to take notice. A Vaxian mining company purchased 3 restored walkers for their asteroid operations. A colony defense force commissioned a dozen refurbished fighters. The machines humans had built for war proved equally capable in peace. Marcus stood in the hangar one evening, watching his team work on their latest project. The original walker, his first restoration, stood in the place of honor near the main doors. Its armor gleamed. Its systems hummed. It was ready for whatever task came next. A young apprentice approached. "Why do you think everyone dismissed these machines? They work better than half the new equipment on the market." Marcus smiled. "People see what they expect to see." They saw broken military surplus. I saw possibility. The walker stood silent in the hangar light, no longer a relic of war, but a tool for building something better. The laughter of those who had mocked it was long forgotten. What remained was the proof that nothing is truly broken if someone is willing to see its worth.